Okay, I think I'm live. Oh man, I have wildly missed this place, all right? Been a little tough on my side, but I figured if I just did a live, hey, I'm at least going to be doing it. So, I have a bunch of tickers I want to look at. Honestly, I haven't been trading much, so I'm a little behind on the news, but hey, I'm excited to do this. I'll be real honest with you. I don't know how consistent I'll be at videos just yet, but again, I'm glad to be making this first one. All right, so I'm gonna cover the indices first. We'll look at the big three like I normally do. From there, I'm going to look at the wheat tickers. From there, we'll look at some tech stuff that I normally look at. Lithium has been picking up pretty well. And then we'll look at game AMC. I think I've been noticing Weight Watchers taking off as well. So that's kind of the working plan right now. All right. So we're going to start with the S&P 500. And hey, look, this isn't too bad. It's not fantastic, don't get me wrong, but hey, we're riding the 8 and the 20 up. We are sitting over all five moving averages. There's not a lot more you can ask for, right? Not really liking the red over green down here on the MACD and the RSI, but hey, end of the day, hold the moving averages, and I'm kind of willing to ignore a lot of things, right? So not the prettiest of index charts, but hey, we're over all the moving averages. We're over the 8 and the 20. We're at a healthy 59, right? So S&P 500 is still actually looking all right in my book. Looking at the Dow Jones Industrial, basically the same chart, right? Again, not the prettiest, but hey, we're holding and using the 8 and the 20 really well, right? If you're going to lose the 8, you better use the 20 real quick to get you back over. And hey, that's at least what did happen here with the Dow Jones, right? So I'm liking the similarities up here. It's a little bit louder on the red over green thing down here, but again, I'm going to kind of focus up here, especially with the indices, right? So far, two look about the same, and then we'll end it with NASDAQ. And again, I'm basically still seeing the same thing, right? We're over all the moving averages. There was a little bit of a moment where we lost the 8, the 20 to the job, and we're sitting here, right? So again, not the prettiest, but hey, they're all over. They're all looking relatively the same, and I'm cool with that unison, right? I like the fact that we have two moving averages right here. I don't know if I really noticed that on the other ones. S&P 500, not as tight, but yeah, you got the 50 and the 100 sitting pretty tight right there. And then DJ 30. This is definitely the loosest, but hey, I at least drew a line around the 50. So I think the biggest thing in my head is, look, 8 and the 20 have been doing the job pretty well, and in my head, that's my bare bone minimum, right? I'm not here to assume it's going to lose these lines when it's kind of not telling me to, right? If we were to lose the 20 and confirm, it seems like the 50 is going to hold across all of them pretty well. All right. So that's essentially what I'm seeing across the indices here. All right. So from there, I'm going to move into, let's look at some of the wheat stocks second, right? So TLRY. Oh man, this is a scary TLRY chart, all right? I believe this was the candle that did it, right? There was the Kamala Harris first presidential nominee comment, right? That she was saying, hey, I really want legalization to happen. That was after what, one or two Trump tweets on his Truth Social place, right? We couldn't confirm. We're under all five. That's what under all five moving averages look like. Really, really scary candle today as we lose this 162 for the first time in a while. I honestly had no idea we were actually sitting under that line, but I mean, we've been over that 162 line since July of last year. So to see us under that thing right now, oh, that's concerning to say the least. You know what I mean? So obviously, there was a moment where we lost that 151 as well, but hey, I'm going to ignore the wick for now. Let me kind of come into the 15-minute chart. Oh, it was a very quick, okay, so I'm not here to say I'm going to ignore it. That's a real scary open, right? But we definitely need to confirm what happens. And hey, look, being under all the moving averages, that's a scary, scary thing. The exact same thing is happening at CGC. I do know that. So this was the candle, the 30th. I don't need to go back, whatever. But yeah, what looked like a promising Kamala Harris moment that might take us up here, we do not confirm. We lose the moving averages. We are now making our way down to that 375 essentially, right? And I mean, after that, that's a scary red, 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 green, green, green that might quickly bring us down to basically 3. If we're sitting at 4 and coming down to 3, that's a quick 25% loss right there, right? So CGC is actually looking concerning. How strong is that line right there? It's not going to be the best, right? Because we just did a 1 for 10 reverse split, not just, but on the other side of last year. So there really isn't too many hits on that 370 something. Be careful. That better hold. My concern actually is we're only at a 32, and you can see it right here. That RSI down to 5 not that long ago, right? June of this year. So just be careful with CGC. Let's come to high tide real quick. Hey, high tide's trying to look better than these. That's at least a decent thing, right? And you can kind of see it. We're almost oscillating. I say it all the time, right? When there's too many moving averages, especially when there's 5 moving averages so tight to each other, you go up, you come down, you go up, you come down, you go up. Are we going to come back down? The one thing I like to see is the come back down not going as low. You can basically say these two are the same, right? It seems like we shouldn't go much lower than those two lines because that should be a good support. And hey, maybe that means the low isn't as low, right? So some people tend to like that. For me, it's still all about that line right there, right? I need to believe we're going to escape all 5 moving averages. I need a good candle. I need to get over 254. Clearly, high tide looks better than the other two, but oh, shoot. Excuse me. Clearly, high tide looks better than the other two, but oh man, when the first two aren't doing well, that definitely has me concerned, right? So that was high tide. Let's take a look at MSOS real quick. MSOS is looking scary. This is another one where it's basically under all 5 moving averages, right? So not really liking that. Not too many things to say. Hey, I do see an interesting green over red here. I do not care about that. That looks too bad to just let that little thing get me excited. You know what I mean? SNDL. Let's take a look at SNDL real quick. Oof, that's a scary SNDL. That's a hard rejection from that 218, escape all the MAs. All of a sudden, we go from the top of all of them all the way back down. You cannot lose the 200 moving average. You already know that if you watch my videos, right? So hopefully that line is something we can use as a support and take off. We use the 100 a bit, but you know, never strong enough. Let's see if we can maybe use the 200 a little bit better, right? I mean, it definitely held for a lot of June or July, so I don't want to underestimate the strength of that thing, but oh man, we cannot lose the 200. Look, overall, this is a tough sector. It's a real tough sector, and again, I'm going to go back to it. I think it's sad when the Dow Jones is going up like that, not the highest of ups, but that is an uptrend, and all of a sudden we're seeing all the weed stocks go down essentially, right? So not a very disheartening disjointment from the indices. You know what I mean? So yeah, how am I doing on time? Am I good with time? Yeah, lovely. Okay, cool. I got 15 minutes left. I want to take a look at Palantir. Listen, I'm never here to tell you what to do with your money, okay? I rarely, I try to even never use the words buy, sell, hold, all right? All-time highs is an amazing place for your money. Believe me, I used to average down in all-time lows. To me, it felt like if the price was so low, it has to be a good deal and go up. No, it's the opposite. If the price is this high and there's absolutely no resistances, oh man, what am I going to do but think up, right? Like, I said it, once we crossed that 32 something, basically 30, like this was my all-time high line. That's why this one's golden, even though we had a line above it. And I mean, this is what that looks like, right? This is a 33% run. We went from 30 something to 40 something. We added a fourth $10 spot when we only had 3 of them, right? So that's what all-time high looks like. And truth be told, I don't like to use the word easy, but that's easy trading. All we're doing is staying over the 8 moving average. We had a little bit of trouble here, but hey, we were ready for it. There was a line right there, right? And hey, we never even lose the line, right? We basically hold and go. So Palantir, again, I'm not here to say buy, sell, hold. You know that, right? But the one thing I can never, ever say enough, all-time highs is significantly better than all-time lows, all right? There are no resistances above, and that's what makes it good. The problem with the other way is there's no supports down to catch it, right? Like I have no educated place to say this is the bottom. People just bottom chase and it's a scary thing, as opposed to, you know, top chasing, and that top just keeps going and going. You know what I mean? So just food for thought. That's what this looks like. All right. Nope, not that one. Let's take a look at SOUN, SOUN. Man, this is a real tight movement, all right? We've basically been locked in those 4 moving averages, going up, coming down, going up, coming down, going up, coming down, going up, coming down, going up. Like literally months of that, right? I'm glad we're holding it up. And the one thing I've said about SOUN, I'm just going to zoom out no, this is the view, sorry, from the February pop. SOUN has a decent ability of staying horizontal. And truth be told, this should be a parabolic up and down. So the fact that it's staying horizontal, you could argue is actually somewhat, you know, positive. End of the day, we got to get over 520. Get me over 520 and oh man, there's going to be some good movement up. We cannot go below 445. This must hold 445, otherwise it's going to be a quick 10% loss to 4, and then 4 has been that magic line for us on SOUN, right? So this to me is a real tight example of what happens when too many moving averages are right there. But yeah, it's at least not going down, and I guess in a lot of ways that's not a bad thing, right? So we'll take a look at NNE really quickly. This is one I've been talking about, and look, there's not a lot of history here, all right? And there's 2 things. So I was trading this one. It's interesting. I didn't draw this line right here. I normally would. It's 50% of a big candle. I thought green, red, green, red was worth not drawing it. I think I should have drew it because end of the day, this is still too new a chart, and that's a big important candle not to draw. So you can see it was a resistance right there, right? It almost is to the penny 50% of this big guy, right? So I, in a little bit of a way, regret not drawing that. Hey, end of the day, this is still over the 8 and the 20. This is actually over all 4 moving averages. There aren't 5, but look, the 100 just got created, right? Like we are a long ways away from the 200 moving average popping up, right? So there are only 4 moving averages. There will only be 4 moving averages for a good while, right? When you look at the weekly, same basic story. There are only 2. The 20 just came into formation, right? So we still got a lot more weeks until we get that 50 average, right? So this thing's over the lines and doing the job, right? So until it loses it, it's not a bad thing, right? 64 RSI isn't horrible. Volume's been a little disappointing. Volume's been going down. It hasn't been the beaut, like it's not as pretty as this was right here. That's why we're not getting as nice a pop, but hey, it's at least still kind of doing the job right there, all right? So cool, I'm still good with time. Let's take a look at GameStop, GME real quick. This is getting a little scary right here, right? GameStop is looking a little scary. We're finding ourselves, I actually zoomed in too much. This 50 moving average seems to be the issue. We're unable to get over it, all right? And it's definitely making its way down. All of a sudden, the 8's making a really hard and drastic turn down. I see a negative MACD and a really scary RSI right there, actually. I do not like that divergence, especially knowing it was only in August when we had a 9 RSI, right? So plenty of room down from 40. And just look, I mean, volume's a bit of an issue, right? The one good thing I'll say about the volume is this outlier that brought the 50 line too high seems like it's kind of stabilizing in a better place. So maybe volume can help this thing, but just looking at the chart, it seems like this thing actually wants to come down to 1920, give or take, all right? So GameStop definitely scaring me a little bit. AMC looking worse than GameStop, right? Like this is under all 5. This is just unable to get over the 8 moving average. I'm seeing the 20 death cross right there. Yeah, this is definitely a tough chart to look at right here, right? So let me look at the Discord real quick. I am live. Hey, how's everyone doing? FUBO. Let's take a look at FUBO right here. FUBO. All right, I see FUBO. Again, I was really big on FUBO around this time. They had an interesting lawsuit with ESPN that they ended up winning. When I say ESPN, it's actually Disney, right? And to beat Disney in a lawsuit, man, you know they can afford some good lawyers, right? I actually agreed with the lawsuit, not that my opinion matters, right? But this is an interesting candle, and I think more than anything, it's an interesting support, right? We go from the top all the way to the bottom. We never lose the bottom, and it kind of seems like we're trying to use it and go on up, right? Volume's a little weak, but maybe that RSI is trying to turn around. Personally, I would love it over 155. I would want to go from 155 to 170. Oh, 171 is clearly the money line, and hopefully that takes us up. This is a nice candle, though. What's going on? Ooh, look at that 15-minute beginning of the day. We broke all five, and we've flown since, right? So interesting on the shorter time frame. But yeah, this is, sorry, not 1 hour on the daily. This actually isn't too bad. And again, like I said, if daily's going to do it, you got to imagine the weekly's going to do it. Using support well so far, right? I think we need just a little bit more. I'd want to confirm that support did hold, but yeah. The next one I want to talk about is lithium, and I know it was actually one of the last things I said, lithium, on the Discord. So it's funny because I mentioned these two, and all of a sudden it's actually another one that I wasn't looking at. But lithium in general seemed to be picking up gas in the tank. All right, that is what it seemed like to me. We were looking at LAC. All right, and this one's all about that 100 moving average right now, right? We tried, couldn't confirm. Let's see if the 8 and the 20 can hold right there. Obviously, some ugly volume right there. LAAC, on the other hand, is actually looking a little better. I think it's the same story, though, in that 100 moving average, right? So I think the two of those are kind of marrying each other a little bit on the movement. If we can get over the 100, I mean, that's a nice little space for the 200 on LAAC. And then when you look at LAC, it's actually an even nicer distance with a lot of nice red, green, red, right? So I've been watching those two. It was AMLI today, American Lithium, and actually well beyond just today. But AMLI is the one that's really been doing the job, right? This one got over the 100, just a little better than the last two, ends up coming right back down to it, uses that 100 and the 8 together to move on up, right? I'm not 1,000% I would call this confirmation. All right, clearly yesterday broke got over, let's not use the word broke. Clearly yesterday got over the 200. Today we gap up, fly, and kind of come back down. I'm not really liking that wick at the moment. All right, so we still got a little bit of time before, oh wow, we only have like 7 minutes before the market closes, right? But hopefully we can regain a little bit. Otherwise, I can't call that confirmation. Lovely green over red on both. 78 is a little bit high, but man, look at that volume, right? So lithium is picking up. It really is, and I think AMLI was the big winner today. I'm still watching LAAC and LAC, even though I'm kind of not trading right now. Since I'm talking lithium, let's talk TSLA. Let's talk EVs real quick, all right? So not the prettiest of Tesla charts right here, all right? This is definitely taking a little bit of a dip. I think the one thing I will say is that 50 and 100 seem like a strong support. Maybe not exactly that 229, but I don't think we're going to go much lower than 225. I think it should be hard to lose both of those lines right there. Definitely not the best MACD, definitely not the best RSI, and volume is making its way down. I think the one thing, though, I just looked at it right in the beginning, NASDAQ's not bad. I'm looking at QQQ. You know those two are the same. Again, it's not bad, and I think I'm going to take the NASDAQ not bad and use the 50 moving average strength. So not the prettiest of charts on Tesla, obviously, but hey, we're over more averages than we are under, and I think these should be able to hold, especially given how close those two are right there. Polestar was another one we were looking at. Oh man, just couldn't get over that 164. Good candle, no confirmation. Good candle, none of those are confirmation. We now see ourselves under, right? Hopefully we don't go under 132. All right. If we lose 132, it actually might be a quick fall down to 1. And that's actually a pretty bad percentage right there, right? Green could be a scary red down right there. So just kind of be careful with that. Lucid, I don't remember being beautiful. Yeah, not really. Not too much to look at. Too many moving averages right there. There was another EV that was hot. I forgot which one. NIO. It was NIO. Where's NIO at? So NIO and BABA, I saw something about the Chinese market taking a little bit of a dip. Maybe it was those three there. You can kind of see that symmetry right there, right? But yeah, so far NIO did really well. It's interesting though, right? Look at all these candles. These are not like I see that 3 green in a row, and I know this is a bad candle. All right, you see it. Look in the box over there. We open up here at 760 and we fall all the way down there to 76 something. More people lost 10%, if not more. I have no idea what the math is, right? But that's not a good candle and that is not confirmation, even though we are over the line, right? And obviously all those are insignificant. So this is an interesting view of what going up without confirmation looks like and how quickly it can bring you down, right? We better not lose that 20 moving average. Otherwise, we might be falling down to, what is it called, to 525. So we talked about lithium. We talked about some EVs. Oh, Weight Watchers. This is the last one I think I might be looking at. I've got a couple minutes left before look at this thing. So from what I think I saw, this has something to do with them offering like weight loss injections. I don't know if that's correct or not. Like I said, I haven't really been looking at stuff, but if that is the case, oh man, what, hey, I talked about all of those tickers in the beginning. I see your comments right now, all those weed tickers. So check out the beginning. Honestly, all four of those don't. Oh, I don't know if I looked at ACB. I'll come back to Weight Watchers real quick. I don't think I looked at it. Yeah, most of them look like this. Most of them are under or struggling to maintain the moving averages. And my biggest concern really was the fact that the Dow Jones is still going up. But literally all four of the tickers that you put in the weed sector are going down. All right, the only decent one was HITI, but again, not the prettiest. It's still a little more parabolic than I want it to be, right? So yeah, in general, the weed sector is not looking that well. I definitely give you some deeper thoughts in the beginning of the video. Back to Weight Watchers though. This is pretty, all right? This is what red. You break the 100, you're gonna go to the 200 on a red. I mean, I've been watching this for a while. You can see all those lines up there, right? So I think it was when Oprah left, this thing like tanked pretty hard. But I'm just gonna delete the line shortly, right? But you break the 100. Literally all of that is red. That's probably the only other horizontal, this thing right here. You can see that was about half the candle today too, right? 50% candles. You hear these things I say all the time, right? So Weight Watchers making a real interesting move. I'm going to delete all those lines because it's a little noisy, right? Will it break the 200? I don't know, right? This is where I would use one of my other charts, but at the minimum, this has made the move very nicely. It's a little high on the RSI side, right? So I can imagine we're gonna maybe come back down. I can see it actually coming down to 177 and not really going much lower than 177. But yeah, it seems like it's gonna wanna go to this 220, 230, and if that breaks, oh my. The weekly is actually saying we might even go to 3. So I would double check what the news was. If it actually was the like injection weight loss thing, yo, that's no joke. Kathy Bates is on some new show. Kathy Bates does not look like Kathy Bates anymore. And it's because of these weight loss things, right? So people will pay a lot of money for that. And if Weight Watchers is about to offer it, oh yeah, that should do them really well, right? So I think the last one I want to look at, because it was actually one of the last videos I made, I'm going to look at INDO. Yo, number one, again, this is like the saddest stock, right? Like this is literally talking about war and trying to make money on it, right? And I loved all the comments that say, hey, I would never trade that stuff. Look, I love it. That's a beautiful answer, right? But the one thing I want to talk about, and again, this is why I believe in technical analysis so much. If you go back, the last thing I said on this was the chart tends to be big candle doji, big candle doji, big candle doji. I'm going to keep zooming back. It's big candle doji, big candle doji. Like that's how this thing moves. Look at this one, big candle doji, that's the exact same way it moved this time, right? So as long as you believe, like again, I use roulette often, right? This is not a dumb little plastic ball that doesn't have a memory. These tickers remember how they moved, right? Like that's the backbone of technical analysis. This did exactly what it's been doing, and the one reason I wasn't trading it during my little moment of sadness was, again, I have no idea if the candle after the doji is going to go down, right? This one happened to keep going up just like the last one and just like the last one. And hey, truth be told, the news keeps getting more messed up and more messed up, right? So, you know, it makes sense in a lot of ways. But yeah, the movement has been exactly what I'd expect, right? As long as the headlines don't deplete, this won't either. And candle doji, candle doji, candle doji, right? So Oh, this was fun to do. I hope to do this more. Next week's might be a little bit of a hard week for me again. We'll see what happens. But again, I've missed you all so much, and man, I enjoyed this so much. Hopefully, I'll do this again tomorrow. Thank you, thank you, thank you.